Hey guys, it's Mana here, and we are back with more of Seduce Me 2, The Demon War. I am very interested to see what happens, because I am fully convinced that the character we're playing as is pregnant. Just 100% convinced that she is. So we'll just jump right back in. I became angry at the smallest things. The steps he took, the things he'd wear, the looks he gave me, or what I assumed he gave me. No, Eric, I don't want to do anything right now.
Love, I didn't say any.
You're looking at me with those sex eyes again.
Sex eyes? I swear, I wasn't doing anything of the sort.
You're doing it now. I couldn't control the words that were flying out of my mouth. Something was wrong, but I continued to speak cruelly toward Eric. My heart was at odds with my mind, and I didn't know why I was doing it, but I continued my barrage.
Love, what is going on?
What's going on? You are what's going on.
I'm sorry.
I felt Eric's enthrallment take over my body, forcing me to go weak in the knees and mule out in surprise. My mind stopped thinking about attacking Eric, and my heart felt entirely relieved that the urge was gone. Eric gently wrapped his arms around me, being sure to keep his arms around my shoulders, and rocked me, trying to calm me down.
Love, are you having doubts?
No, I'm not. I don't know what
You swear you're not having doubts about us?
I promise. I was able to speak the truth under his spell. It was strange. It was like I was under a curse when I wasn't under his enthrallment, somehow despising every little thing Eric did. Yet I knew it wasn't true. I loved everything about him, but my mind wouldn't agree. I gripped Eric's shirt, wanting to stay close and to show my true feelings for him.
Listen to me, okay? I love you so much. If you have any doubts on us getting married, then please just tell me. I don't know what's going on in your beautiful head.
I love you too. I really, really do. I don't know what's happening to me. It made no sense. Why did I despise Eric, yet love him? My mind, heart, and body were at odds with each other, and I wasn't sure what to do. This went on all the way until our wedding day. Somehow, Eric managed to deal with me the entire time, enthralling me when things became rough to keep me calm. The other incubi tried to decipher what was going on with me, but none of them could figure it out. I was going to marry Eric, and then I was going to figure out what was wrong with me. I knew I still loved him with every inch of my heart, mind, and body and soul. So feeling disdain like this was not natural for me. I had asked Eric to place me under enthrallment for our wedding, in case I lashed out again. He reluctantly agreed and stayed with me the morning of our wedding. Excuse me. I was supposed to dress alone and be by myself, but I needed Eric to keep me in check. I felt ridiculously warm and fuzzy as I stood in the bathroom, having to come out of the hot shower with Eric. We didn't do anything together, but he remained close enough to keep me enthralled and remained energized enough to maintain the enthrallment. Eric gently ran my brush through the strands of my hair, being as sweet and caring as he always was towards me. But because of the enthrallment, I felt each stroke and derived so much pleasure from his brushing. It was hard not to moan.
Well, love, today's the big day.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
I truly hope so. I'm the happiest man alive to be able to soon call you my wife.
I want to be your wife. I want you to be my husband. I felt like crying. Why did I have to be enthralled to say such things? I really loved him, but somehow I couldn't bring myself to say it without him casting his spell over me. Eric looked at me through the bathroom mirror and gently smiled, believing me, and placing a small kiss on my cheek.
By the way, are you using a new soap?
Huh? I looked at Eric, unsure of what he meant. I had used the same soap I always used, so my scent shouldn't be any different. You're pregnant. Eric tilted his head and gently inhaled again before smiling a little wider.
You smell different. I kind of like it.
I blushed, not because of the enthrallment, but because I didn't know I had a different smell. Was something that off about me? It couldn't have been that drastic, right? Eric finished brushing my hair and smiled, kissing my head.
All right, time for you to get into your dress. I'm afraid that I can't join in dressing you as much as I want to. Can't see the bride in her gown before the wedding. I also have to get to the ceremony venue to get my tuxedo. However, my enthrallment should stay on you until you arrive.
Good to know. I tried to fight back, but Eric held up his finger.
No. I promise that everything will be okay. As soon as I see you, I'll enthrall you again, and we can go through the ceremony as planned. Okay?
As much as I wanted to fight it, I was thankful that Eric was willing to go through all of this to make sure that I wouldn't throw a fit, despite me not wanting to in the first place. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a difficulty reading right now because like the screen's not doing anything. It's my eyes. Like everything keeps getting like real fuzzy and blurry, and it's like I want to take my glasses off, but I know I can't read anything if I take my glasses off. So it's yay migraines. I agreed and earned a small kiss from him, which I relished.
All right. I love you. I'll see you soon.
Damn right you will. I nodded, smiling back at him before slipping on his regular clothes and left the mansion. I felt the enthrallment on me ebb and flow through my body, so I needed to hurry and get ready before it wore off. Ooh, that's still pretty hot. I got dressed in the wedding dress of my dreams and smiled as I prepared my hair and jewelry. I really did look like the perfect bride, ready for a big day. Why was I acting so against it? I would never know. But I was going to fix this after saying I do. Okay, so that wasn't me. As I stared at myself, I could see a small glow about my body. Was it Eric's spell? I giggled, wrapping my arms around myself and enjoying the feel of his spell. The feel his spell had on me. Jesus Christ. Love being dyslexic and having migraines.
I knew it! That girl has demon magic.
Hi, Diana. What the?
And quit talking and let's take her!
Get the fuck out of here.
The demon lord will be so pleased.
Get the fuck out of here. Who? Before I could turn and search for the voices, I felt hands grab hold of my feet, and I looked down and lifted my dress. What are you under my dress? 2 pairs of evil-looking hands had taken hold of my ankles, reaching through the dark red and purple pentagram. I shrieked, trying to pull my legs away, but couldn't stop them as they swiftly pulled me into the ground. I was pulled deeper into the darkness. I was no longer in my room. I was being dragged through a dark void, one that I couldn't escape. I reached out and clawed at the dark, trying to find something to grab onto. I tried to pull my legs away from the hands that were holding them, but couldn't pull free. What was going on? Why was this happening? Someone help me! As if someone had heard my screams, I suddenly felt the hands let go and disappear, leaving me to float in the darkness they left me in. I shut my eyes. Please let this be a dream. Please let this be a dream! I finally felt a surface under my feet, and I collapsed onto it, my body curling in on itself from the experience I had. I didn't dare tear my eyes away from my lap, not ready to get up just yet. The voice I heard, however, made my heart stop.
You! What are you doing here?
Hi, Diana. I looked up, finally having the courage to take in my surroundings. My heart stopped beating for a moment, seething in my chest. Hi. I looked up to see 5 figures, strangers, monsters, beings that I didn't recognize. They all looked down at me in surprise, as if I had dropped in at a very bad time. Just bad. One man looked like an orc from a fantasy game without any tusks. He had broken horns and a very frightening aura around him as he stared at me. The other male was lanky in comparison, more human-like, but I could almost feel power emanating from him regardless. Okay. One of the women who was staring had rabbit ears. Rabbit ears. They twitched on top of her head as she looked at me and gripped her staff. She seemed harmless, yet she had animal ears. Okay. The one creature I couldn't discern the sex of seemed more excited to see me than surprised. I want to say female, but I'm with you on that one. What freaked me out about them was that they had wings sticking out from their back, and they were floating. That's the part that freaked you out, okay. The last woman, however, set off alarm bells in my head as I looked at her surprised face. Her hair, her eyes. Diana? Hi, honey. As she stared, the woman turned her body towards me in recognition to the name I called her. It was her.
What are you doing here?
It's what I'd like to know. Diana walked towards me and stared down at me. It was odd. She didn't look like a human, yet I wasn't afraid of her demon form as it towered over me. I was more in shock as to what was going on. Before Diana could speak further, most likely to repeat herself, a figure quickly stepped up and bowed to her, kneeling beside me.
My lady, please forgive me. I felt something moving between our worlds and assumed the Demon Lord was to blame, so I intercepted his summoning of this human.
Oh, thank you.
You. So I wasn't the only one who felt the change in the air.
I mean, I appreciate it, because I'd rather it be you guys than the Demon Lord. Demon Lord would not be happy about me marrying his son, that is for sure. Diana stared at the man kneeling beside me as I kept my eyes up at her. As she turned her gaze back to me, I gulped silently. What was she going to do with me? This all felt wrong. I was about to be married. I was about to live my happily ever after with the man I loved. Now I was in a place I didn't know with Diana and a bunch of other creatures I didn't recognize. My instinct was to scream, cry, attack. I'm just gonna stay still because I don't think Diana will actually hurt me. She didn't last time, so I couldn't move. My mind was empty of emotions except for fear. Why was this happening? Where was I? Why was Diana here? Diana stared down at me before sighing and kneeling down to my level. As she settled onto her knees, I leaned away from her, unsure of what she'd do. Was she going to kiss me again and take my energy? Knowing her? Maybe.
Can you tell me what happened?
I didn't want to speak. I felt no courage to. My mind was so wrapped around this chaos that I felt nothing but fear and anxiousness. This couldn't have been happening. I was dreaming.
Is she okay?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
This is a waste of our time. Just kill her or something.
not a good idea.
Yes, because that's a smart thing to do. Kill someone who is clearly traumatized and has done nothing to deserve death. Brilliant idea. Bravo.
With that guy. I don't know who he is, but I'm with him. Diana continued to stare at me, waiting for me to answer. Why? She didn't cast a spell on me, nor did she attack me. She continued to wait and stare. Slowly, my mind began to sink into the situation. Diana was willing to listen. Was she willing to help? That was another question, but first I had to answer her. My voice didn't want to answer still, so I forced myself to nod, wanting to answer her somehow. Diana smiled softly, which conflicted with my memories of her. She never smiled like that, yet she was now. Diana held out her hand, ushering me to take it.
Can you stand?
I nodded again and took her hand, standing up at last. I looked around at the other beings in the room. They all kept their gaze to me, unsure of what I would do or say. Diana, however, led the conversation.
First, can you tell me what happened to you?
I took a breath, recounting everything that had happened. I was about to go to the church to be married, and then I was attacked by this darkness. A couple of hands grabbed my legs and pulled me into it, and then I fell here.
A shadow summoning.
Diana turned to one of the beings, a lanky male, and glared.
One of yours couldn't have.
On my honor, it wasn't any of mine. We have nothing to gain from kidnapping a human. Nor do we know who this woman is, anyhow.
Diana does.
My lady, if I may, I clearly remember hearing imp demons in the void along with her. It must have been the Demon Lord's henchmen.
Those damnable creatures. That explains it.
Diana crossed her arms and looked to me again.
Well, dear, it seems that you were to be either a new harem girl for the Demon Lord to ravish, or bait for the boys to return to their father's side. Either way, I doubt you would have lived long had the Demon Lord gotten his hands on you.
I appreciate the rescue. Can I get the name of my savior, please? A violent shiver ran up my spine. Was it true? Could I have died?
Wait a minute. This girl knows about the Demon Lord's heirs?
Yes. Hilariously enough, she was set to marry one of them, as you can see from her garb.
Thanks, Diana. As Diana motioned towards my dress, I realized how vulnerable I was and felt extremely self-conscious. I wrapped my arms around myself as Diana let out a sigh.
Well, since you do not belong here, the obvious thing to do is to send you home.
I would appreciate that. I couldn't help but stare wide-eyed at Diana. She was really going to send me home? Really? I couldn't believe my ears. Shut up, Fridge. Jesus, everything's making noise. You'll really send me back?
Of course. It should be easy to do once everything is in order. It'll be like you never left the human world.
Fantastic. Wait, like I never left the human world? What do you mean by left the human world? Diana stared before chuckling softly and gesturing to the room of beings within it.
Dear, do you not realize where you are? You are in the demon world.
Yeah, I kind of figured that much. My mind went blank. It couldn't be. I couldn't be in the demon world. No way. No way in hell. Well, funny you should say that. I felt myself back up against the wall behind me, suddenly afraid. I was in another world. How? That was impossible. No, it's not. You know it's not, because that's where the boys came from originally. So you know it exists, and you know there's a way to travel between the two. Diana stepped towards me, both of her hands softly trying to show me she meant no harm, as she positioned them in front of her body.
Do not panic. We will send you back now, so there's nothing to worry about.
Appreciate it.
How will you power the spell? Bringing someone here is no easy task, but sending someone back consumes much more energy.
I'll use what energy I have now and rest. We can organize the siege another time when I fully recover. It's not like the Demon Lord can escape the corner we've trapped him in, so we do have some time to spare.
Ooh.
You'd waste time and energy on this human. We must strike now while the Demon Lord is weakened.
But the human doesn't belong here. She needs to go home.
Shall I prepare the return spell?
Please.
Do. I grant you permission to use my energy to power the spell.
Shut up. With a nod, the lanky man held out his hand toward the wall. I looked over in the direction it was aimed at. Diana's shadow. I watched as Diana's shadow simply stood against the wall, mirroring the movements of the real succubus in the room. Before my eyes, the shadow began to morph and expand on the wall of its own. I looked back to Diana to see her wrapping her arms around herself and curling her shoulders over, as if she was in pain. Her nails embedded themselves into her forearms, and I could barely make out a painful hiss escaping her clenched teeth. Was the spell hurting her that badly? I turned back to the wall to see Diana's shadow shaking and vibrating, as if it was resisting the change the man was forcing on it.
You will obey my command. Open the gates to the void, and allow passage to the world we seek.
Transitum per renan peto tranives. Ubi aperiunt. Iano ium. Esedio.
Upon Diana's final word, her shadow burst and expanded into an oval-shaped doorway. I stared wide-eyed at the passage before a hand placed itself on my shoulder, forcing me to look over. The one with the spear gently pressed my shoulder forward and looked down at me with almost a stern face.
You must leave now. The faster you leave, the quicker we can close the void.
Go! Go! Go get married!
I quickly nodded and lifted the bottom of my dress, stepping forward to make a run for the passage. However, before I could bolt towards my freedom, A snarl echoed through the room.
How dare you interfere with my summoning!
At that very moment, Diana began to scream, arching her spine and throwing her head back. Around her body were red-tinted bolts of lightning flashing and shocking her form.
No! Human! Use the passage! Now!
He didn't have to tell me twice. I pulled towards the portal, diving forward as I neared it. But I was forced back by a burst of energy and a flash of red light. I fell to the floor, almost slamming my head into the stone.
A human will never, ever leave this world alive!
Oh, shit.
You spineless worm!
Close the portal! The Demon Lord might get through!
But the human...
Close it!
As commanded, the man pulled his hand back, visually forcing his arm back behind his body. And Diana's shadow quickly began to morph back into a simple shadow. The electricity around Diana faded away, and she began to tip forward. The man with the spear dropped his weapon and caught Diana in his arms, cradling her to his body as she panted and gasped for air.
I don't sense the Demon Lord anywhere.
The worm has to scurry through the shadows to try and fight back. He'll be dead soon enough.
Well, shit.
How is she, guard?
Diana seemed to be look uninjured. But her body was twitching from the aftermath of a magical attack. Her visible eye was shut tight as she dug her fingers into the guard's jacket to cling to him. As her eyes opened, I saw not a blood ruby red color, but I saw a cold and unfriendly golden color painted over her iris. Her mouth opened and she panted for air, and I could see hunger in her facial expression. She continued to stare at the wall, not wanting to make eye contact with anyone.
There are no physical wounds, but she's been weakened. I must give her my energy so she can recover.
The man swiftly removed and hooked an arm underneath Diana's knees, lifting her up bridal style as she clung to his jacket, shivering. The spear that had fallen to the floor faded into black and purple mist as he quickly left the room with her in his arms. My mind, however, began to panic. I couldn't go home. Why was I being forced to stay? Damn the Demon Lord, this wasn't right.
There's an imp in the castle. That is the only way the Demon Lord could have been able to interfere.
Ah.
You! Guards by the door! Hunt it down!
A pair of guards that were apparently by the door saluted the one commanding them and ran off. I felt out of place, alone, terrified as to what was going to happen. The Demon Lord wanted me here, and his words pounded at my mind. And I'm going to end it here, because I'm all out of time. But I'm definitely interested to see what happens. Glad Diana's on our side, because the Demon Lord, not so much. Not so much. Alright, so, when we come back, I have no idea what's going to happen. We are currently in the Abyssal Plane. There is a war going on, and we are currently stuck in the middle of it. I would rather be on Diana's side than the Demon Lord, because I know the Demon Lord wants to kill me. Or at least, no, he will kill me. There's no way around that. But he does for sure want to use the character as bait to get the boys to come back. Because if you've seen the first one, they escaped the Abyssal Plains using the main character. Her name is Mina, but of course you can put in your own name, so Mana. But they used the grandfather of the main character to cross over into this world, which is why he passed away, which is how we ended up in the mansion, because it was left to us in the will. So yeah, it sucks. This is gonna be interesting. I'm logging off now. I'll see you guys later. And remember to do something nice for a stranger today. You may just save a life. Bye!